Well, thank you for the invitation to the Carina Day. And Joachim gave me the title here and asked me to have some reflections on importance of research and development for furthering clinical microbiology, but also infectious diseases. So, Carina, you have been on this scientific road trip, as Joachim described, over the years. You have also been a part of the Dillner road trip. I remember when we discussed to move from Stockholm to Malmö, and with our young children, and it was sort of a decision that we need to discuss, of course. And then one day Joachim came home and said that Carina will come with us. And then we said, let's go. Then we thought that then we can make it. We can build up something there together. So this was very important for us. And you never know also what's around the corner. So high quality healthcare is changing all the time. You need to be constantly moving and also sort of identify and add research results into the healthcare. And if you do the same thing today as yesterday, it will be stagnation and lower quality. And an example from Malmö, the 10 years we were there, I think we changed every analysis in the laboratory. We went from culture to automation, and I think almost every single test was exchanged for a newer one that there were evidence for quality. And you were all part of that in the Malmö collaboration. And this to constantly be changing, you really need a very strong research and development department integrated with the clinic. So in Malmö, we also worked on incentives to create incentives to engage in development. And we discussed the mission for the clinical part. I was then the head of clinical microbiology, and we worked on what is our mission, how do we need to work to accomplish the mission, and also do we have the prerequisites to accomplish the mission. And this was like the action plan you do for the clinical laboratory, and you hand it over to the head of the hospital, and then we try, of course, to work to reach our goals. And we did a very systematic follow-up on the mission, how we're doing, reports back to the clinical laboratory, and we also we argue for that if we reach our goals, we had set very high goals, then there should be some incentives for us to really work on, not only like sort of keeping to budget and so on, because we wanted really to create an environment where development was a very positive way to develop the clinical department. So we agreed together with the head of the hospital that we would keep some sum of money if we reach the goals, and it would go back to the department, and we were free to use it for education or for creating a better environment at the laboratory. So this was sort of a drive in reaching also the goals in a very, I think, very effective way. So we drastically increased productivity over just a few years when we had this incentive to really work on reaching the goals. we also did some road trips together for this money that we got back to the department. We also, I mean, another important part of creating an environment where research and development is really implemented, it's also to be pioneering innovation. And in Malmö, one of the bacteriologists, Ingela Tjernberg, who is also a great surfer, she grew tired of spreading the plates, and she thought it must be a better way. So she had this idea that we would use little moving kulor, little moving, instead of spreading by hand, there would be a bead, a magnetic bead that will spread the bacterial isolates on the plate. And she took some material from her surfboard. It was very strong material, and she created those little beads. And then if we had a innovation sort of small lab within the clinical department, and she tested this out. And now it's a global-wide technique for spreading bacterial isolates. And you can, I mean, this automation has really been a good thing for the clinical work. We also, it's also when focusing on research and development and integration in the clinic, it's also to learn from others. In Malmö, we know that at clinical chemistry they had automation on serology, and why not at the microbiology department as well? So our colleague Bengt-Göran Hansson placed like a chemistry robot in the microbiology department, and this was also an advancement, and we got a high quality result. And I think the challenges ahead for the healthcare is to provide better patient value for lower cost, and the way is not to do sort of micromanagement, to try to cut a little bit here or a little bit there. It's rather to try to create an environment where research and development is sort of very much part of the healthcare. And we really need this integration, and also to create incentives for all the co-workers to really work on research and development and see this as a natural part of the clinical work. This is really a key to success. So at the Karolinska we have a model. It's called Patient First. Together we create the best healthcare. And this is ongoing now. It's under implementation. I feel that the environment we had in Malmö is really the same idea as Karolinska is now adapting to. And it's the key parts, the healthcare, the research and the education, that is very much integrated with each other. And we really focus on outcomes that mean something for the patient. And to really identify this, you need to have a strong research and development integrated in the clinic. This is the new organization where we are organized in themes rather than in divisions like previously, and we work like in patient flow areas, and I am now, my title is POC, which stands for Patient Area Chief, or Chief of Patient Area, patientområdeschef for infectious diseases. And here we work on this multidisciplinary approach to all the time look at what can we do better for the patient. And as you can see, this is an example. We had a PI or a teacher representative, someone from, in this case, Karolinska Institute, and we had all like a multi-professional team around to discuss what can we together do to create the best value for the patient, and also at a lower cost. So this is sort of the concept for value-based healthcare. And I felt that we created that already during the Skåne time. And you see here are the sort of questions that we discuss. We have one like this like table around every now diagnosis. So there is like one table for septicemia, one for tuberculosis, etc. And here we really discuss how can we improve value for the patient. And also that you can see what is the important clinical areas to research and what does the latest findings says. So this is also that this is just an example from tuberculosis where we sort of map what type of projects do we have ongoing when it comes to prevention, pathogenesis, diagnostics, treatment, and also follow-up. And we all sit together and try to implement the best evidence care for the patient. And I feel this is something that I have sort of with me. It feels very natural from how we worked in Skåne and now in Stockholm. So I think keys to success is to measure and create incentives. Also, of course, persistence, as Joachim mentioned. And Karina, I read that you have been running 962 kilometers this year. Yes. In your jog diary. So persistent pace and multidisciplinary team. I think this creating this also group spirit, that we have an organization where we all contribute to the results, and the goal is of course to do something good for the patients. And then also setting up clear and realistic goals. And I can say that the spirit we built together there in the action plan for the microbiology laboratory in Malmö, I put a Nobel Prize on the action plan. And for me, it was very natural. I think, you know, we had so much ongoing, and keep it up also here at the Karolinska. And my colleagues, the other head of department, they were sort of laughing at me. But I thought this is a realistic goal for the way we work. Yeah. So, Karina, if we had gotten it, you would have been part of that, of course. And I'm very happy and proud to be part of this journey. And as I said, you never know what's behind the corner, so keep on working. Thank you.